it's Arafire here. Today we're back with another episode of All Talk, No Shock. And today I want to ask, does size really matter? Go with that which way you want.
All talk, no shock.
Yes, you might have guessed I'm talking about the Haslab Unicron that people have started to get from their pre-orders. Now, by my recollection, this should be the largest transformer ever in robot mode. Previously that was Generation 1 Fortress Maximus, but I believe this is taller than that. This is 27 inches tall in robot mode. Now, the question I want to ask is, forgetting classes and scale and ranges, because this kind of has put that to bed, is that the new definition of size now? Is this now exceeding Titan class? Is this big enough? Is this what we'd want to see from a Unicron scale? 27 inches is a hell of a figure. Now that we're sort of getting into masterpiece combiner territory with most third-party companies, they're coming in at around 24 inches tall, maybe 22 inches tall. Now we have the bar set at 27 inches being the largest figure. Unicron's not meant to scale with anything particularly. There's certainly nothing on the market that would scale with him. The only trouble is with this is that as collectors we're not prepared to have a figure that large in our collections to house them. Now okay, it's only 3 inches taller than a masterpiece combiner, which most people will have in their collections anyway, so there's not a big difference there. But then you talk about the planet mode. By the time it's in planet mode with all of its rings going around, that's 30 inches in diameter. Now, the people who choose to display it in planet mode, that's a hell of a thing to build your collection around, because it's not just the height, it is the width or the radius that you've now got to try and have side by side on the top of your cupboards or bookcases or however you display them. It's going to get very tight for space. So, can we build our collections around this one masterpiece grade figure? Now, of course, seeing some of the early reviews of the figure, it indicates that it's not cheap to make. There's some very, very heavy ratchets involved. The transformation does look complex, does look involved, and in some places may even need 2 people to operate. Now, that can't be cheap to make, even by Hasbro standards. So they naturally had to do a bit of crowdfunding for it. And I'm thinking, if you're going to go to this top end, something like a Unicron, something that is the be-all and end-all of a Transformers, is that going to be the future? Is that going to be the future approach for Hasbro? You have these crowdfunding to make these very, very particular high-end figures. And we're not talking high-end quality like Masterpiece anymore. These are talking ratchets. I've seen furniture built with less involvement. Bigger doesn't always necessarily mean better. Fans Toys a little while ago teased that they would be making a 4-foot Fortress Maximus. Now, Fans Toys are going through whatever they're going through, and that one has certainly been shelved for a long time, but it's something that they've flirted with the idea of doing. The fact that they would put out a prototype shot of it does say to us that they would consider it. They have the engineering to do it. A 4-foot Titan coming onto the Transformers market, even if it is the third-party side, that changes the field again. Could you imagine if, say, tomorrow, Fans Toys released a 4-foot Fortress Maximus and people jumped into that? That would just make Haslab Unicron look like nothing, and then the playing field changes again. I will say at this point, I know Fans Toys and Haslab Unicron not necessarily in the same conversation, but there is this kind of dominance for the biggest transformer on the market. I'm sure Fans Toys would have an eye on it, I'm sure Zeta Toys would have an eye on it, and Haslab, or Hasbro, will want to try and keep their crown in that place. Now, my opinion on Haslab Unicron is, I think Unicron has to be the biggest of anything because he is a planet. He is kind of the world eater, the apocalypse bringer, the harbinger of death. Now, he has to be the biggest. 27 inches though, that's pretty tall. Is it going to dwarf everything in your collection? Yes it is. Does it make everything else in your collection look a bit naff in comparison? That's up to individuals. Maybe so, maybe not. I think what bothers me is one, trying to accommodate it. I think particularly if I were to have that figure, I want to store it in planet mode. I want to display it in planet mode. I think that looks really good in planet mode. But that's going to take up a lot of space, and as you can see I've only got a couple of cupboards. If I put that up at the top, where am I going to put all my other figures around it? That's going to get very hard to piece together. What I do want to see, once this Unicron figure gets out widely available to everyone who's pre-ordered it, I want to see how the rest of the Transformers toy market responds. What's next for Hasbro? What's their next range? Are they going to use this as a standard bearer within their own toy lines? How does the third party world respond? Are they going to be making stuff of 27 inches? Are we going to have a 30-inch figure, a 40-inch figure? Where does it stop? You know, I'll be interested to see how this shakes up the field, and it will. You can't just ignore it. So that's something I've got a very keen eye on. The fact that there is crowdfunding, and this has taken the better part of 2 years to put together, would indicate this is a once-in-a-lifetime deal. There's only going to be so many pieces made, there's only going to be so many pieces available. If you want this, you had to pre-order it. You're probably not going to get another chance to get it again. That is a bit of a, I don't want to say toxic way of dealing with it, but it is a very blink and you'll miss it. A lot of people won't want to drop that level of money on a figure to get a figure that's very one shot. It's great if you get it, great if you want it, but you could easily miss the boat on this one. This is very much a once in a lifetime. It doesn't feel all inclusive to all Transformers fans. Two other things I will say about the figure is the kibble on the back of the legs, which could be considered quite floppy when you transform it. I mean, it is a planet. The transformation has to go somewhere. It is a robot that turns into a sphere. I can forgive a bit of kibble because it can't just disappear. I do think you can take it off and have it displayed in a very clean robot mode, but still, I'm not going to hate on them too much for that. The bit that surprises me from seeing the video, the production video that was put together with the figure, it comes with a stand. Now the stand is really for planet mode to hold the planet up, but a lot of the robot shots I'm seeing, the robot mode is plugged in, and I've only seen one photo, someone's got their own version saying it can stand up without the stand. But my only thinking is, that's got so much weight, so much hanging off it, such heavy ratchets. How many poses are you going to get without this stand? It makes me think this stand is actually going to be a crutch for the figure. It's 27 inches tall, it's got a lot of metal in it, it's got a heavy amount of plastic to it. You're not going to get that many poses without this stand. I think that stand becomes essential for just keeping the thing upright. I will just point out, I don't hate the figure. I think the size is very big, it's very adventurous. I'm concerned about the transformation, and I'm concerned about the space it will take up in display in robot or planet mode. I think the robot mode, the Studio Cell did a better screen movie accurate representation, but I don't hate the Haslab version. I think the planet mode looks really good, and it is very tempting to have in that collection, displayed in planet mode. I think it is a lot of money, and I think asking people to wait the better part of 2 years for crowdfunding, dropping about £600 on a toy, I'm glad it's once in a lifetime, because I wouldn't want that to be the norm. But what do you guys think? Have you got a pre-order in yourself? Are you waiting to receive it? What are your concerns with it? Do you have any concerns? Do you think this is a really positive thing for the Transformers world? Let me know in the comments below. I'd love to hear from you. Well, that's all for today. Thanks for watching. Don't forget to hit that subscribe button. I'll see you on the next one.